10 seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
If anybody can hear me, I'm trying. I'm trying to get over where I was a few minutes ago, where you can actually see my face. Not that you want to, but I'm sure that it doesn't really do anything if you don't. All right, wait just a minute. You get me down here at the side. I was really waiting on Tony to come back. 1 second, guys. What is I told Medina today that I was going to get rid of this software because the software to me, I can't fool with it. It's got me all bun-fuzzled up on what, okay, there's half of me anyway. The software is nothing like StreamYard is. I wish StreamYard would sponsor me. That would be awesome. If StreamYard would sponsor me, I could use their software. It's just really too expensive for me right now. Um, Let me see if we got anybody here. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes. Yes, a few people. Hey Mac, how you doing? Gail, good to see you. Um, can y'all hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? I got a microphone here instead of you can see me, but can you hear me? Mm, I can unplug this thing if it's not getting out. Somebody let me know if they can hear me. Hear you. Okay, you can hear me. I was waiting on Tony to come. He had forgotten about it, and he was actually gone out to eat with his wife and kids. But let me see here. I don't know why I can't get this over here on the whole thing. They've got this blue and white flag background. I guess that's there. You go. Dadgummit. Hold on 1 second, guys. I don't know why this thing wants to go blank on me. Um, Let me go back to where I was, and at least they'll get half the screen up here. Um, Boy, I tell you what, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I don't know what it is. It's something wrong with this software, and I can't get it where I like it anyway. But like I said, Tony is supposed to be here, and he may be here any second. Medina is actually out with a friend of hers, seeing a play tonight, and I forgot the name of it. It's as my daughter says, it is a chick flick play. If it was a movie, I think it's still Magnolias, but that's what my daughter calls it, a chick flick. Um, But anyway, well, let's get started on a few things. I'll just tell you one thing is I haven't been feeling up to par today. I went to the doctor for regular checkup. I just haven't been feeling up to par since I got back. I don't know if it's they've got the flu going around down here. I don't think it's that. Um, just I don't sleep at night. That's one of my big deals because of working all those years in law enforcement, working the third shift. I just never got to where I sleep good at night. Some nights I go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. Other nights it'll be 4 o'clock. Sometimes not at all. I look at the clock and it'd be like 7 o'clock, and then I'll start getting sleepy because that's my regular time when I worked. I used to go to bed about 7 to 7:30 so in the morning. So that's getting to think I ought to find a job that works midnights if I'm gonna stay up that late. Now I could do that again. I know they are hiring part-time police officers, but I'm about too old to do that. I think I don't know. Well, I'm gonna talk about a thing that I was in the Publix grocery store yesterday, and I looked down at the newspaper. I was trying to find. We're actually in South Alabama right now. We're at Gulf Shores um, area, and you think Gulf Shores, oh, the beach. It's not. It does have a beach, and it does have a lot of stuff going on, but we haven't been to the beach. We came down to see our doctors that are normally down here, and we and my wife sees her doctors, and to see some of our good friends, and that's pretty much all we've done. We drove by the beach, but as far as going out and putting my feet in the sand or anything, I haven't done that. Uh, it's a lot different if you live down here. When I've talked to a lot of people that TS, good to see you. I've talked to a lot of people that say, "Oh, I'd love to live at the beach," but if you live down here, and I did for like 20 something years. Now Medina used to go all the time, take the kids to the beach, but I hardly ever went unless I was working. Sand is hard to walk on. It's hot most of the time. I don't know. I just not good, not into it. But anyway, I was at Publix. I looked down at the newspaper. I was looking for actually the Islander. The weather, Katie, is 78 today here. It was rather warm. It was cold. Uh, your mic is muted. It says press M. Maggie. Maggie. I don't know why it's muted. Is it still muted? Y'all hear me at all? Lost sound? Katie, you said you lost the sound. Still nothing? All right, hold on. I don't. No, it keeps coughing on. I don't know what the problem is. I'll let y'all read that while I'm trying to get the sound back. I plugged the mic back in. I don't know if it's gonna do it or not. It might be the plug, yeah. I don't know what the problem is. I'm gonna let it try this. But anyway, I'll keep on. Y'all let me know if you can't hear me. This is a lady said that her 19-year-old daughter here has been missing for 30 years. And ran an article in the paper. This apparently was some type of role they did for her. National Memorial for Missing Children, downtown Pensacola, on Tuesday. This was January the 28th that this came out in the paper. Memorial is in remembrance of missing children, including Garrett's friend, and who was disappeared in 1992 at the age of 19. The weird thing is, this is not the first one that's been missing over there in Pensacola. I covered the one Daniel. I think it was Daniels was her last name, that we talked about on the channel. Okay, trying to get it to switch over to this next one. And I tell you what, I've had fits tonight with this thing. I'm about ready to call them and tell them that they've got a problem with their software, because I can't get them to, like, I tap on the okay, here's the girl. Was 19 when she disappeared after leaving a party in Pensacola in 1992. She was presumed dead and the victim of foul play. Escambia County Sheriff investigators are actively looking into this as a cold case. As she seemed like a pretty girl, but this was the one of the things that they had in here that came along with this. Here I am trying to get this to come up. Boy, I tell you what, I really like StreamYard. I don't understand why they have to be so high. Uh, that the software has stopped working on this mic. I don't know if you can hear me still or not. Says here, Florida Sex Offender Predator Registry failing to report for that. Is Escambia County deputies consider him a person of interest in this girl's disappearance. I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad that law is out there. The failure to register, because a lot of times that's your first sign that they are back into whatever they did to get on the registry, whether it's your child porn or on the computer porn, or they're in an area that they're out there, abusing kids or whatever. Um, I don't know, but that's one of the signs right off the bat that let the police know that that they need to go snatch them up. And the U.S. Marshals are great at doing that. That's one of their main jobs, is going out and picking up these people that failure to register. Let me. If you're getting any sound at all, I feel like I've lost y'all over here. Tony, good to see you, buddy. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Let me turn your mic on a minute. Do you hear me? Okay. I don't know. This says my mic's screwed up. Maybe you can see the chat. I can't. I lost the chat and everything. But this is actually the girl's picture, and okay, great, Tony. The girl's picture out of up there at Beaver Dam, and Beaver Dam actually is a pretty good size little town. She's 16 years old and she's 3 months pregnant by this perv, and I'm going to show you him here. Y'all need to really pay attention. I don't hear you, Tony. I don't know what the deal is at all. Do y'all hear Tony at all? Because I don't hear him at all. And maybe I got my volume down too much. I don't know what the deal is. No, my volume is all the way up. I don't hear myself either. All right, this is a pervert. He's the predator. He's believed to be the father of the unborn child. No contact order with the teen is in effect when they took off, and we're not sure if it was a voluntary that he left with her, or he took her. They're not sure. Believed to be traveling to his home in Arkansas. You can see him. It's Gary Day. I thought that he would already be in custody by now, because in a few minutes I'm going to show you the car and the 2 tags that he's been using. And on these, you do not see or hear Tony. I don't know why you don't hear Tony. Let me check that real quick, Tony. All right, let me turn it back on, your camera back on. Turned it off and turned it back on. Hold on 1 second. I hate this software. Hate it. Okay, you on there, Tony?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
All right.
Can you look at the chat? See if we have chat there, because I can't. If I turn that on, I'll lose you for some reason.
I can see the chat.
Okay. Anyway, this is the pervert from Wisconsin, and he has, father of the child, I think, and this is actually the car. If I can get it to come up, I'm having a real tough time with this thing today for some reason.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. He's got a house in Arkansas. They think he's en route back to Arkansas, which they'll pick him up over there if that's the case.
Thanks,
But
Mac.
I'm trying to pull this up, but for whatever reason,
Where
there
that
it is.
broadcast is, it says it's 30 degrees. I can see that.
Well, it's up there in Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee is they got snow tonight in Milwaukee. Amber alert for pregnant teen. Here's his actual Arkansas tag, and he also stole a tag, I think, from Pennsylvania and put that on his car also. But it's a 2014 black Buick LaCrosse. And, it looked like to me they could, I know they have tag readers on a lot of these bridges, and especially if they're going anywhere there's a toll booth. And that looked like that would alert them, but they must be staying off the main roads, staying off of the interstates and staying on the back roads. But these little podunk towns, they'll get them too, for sure they'll get them. And but it's a fairly easy. It's kind of bland car though. You would think it might be something else. Looks to me like maybe an Audi or something, but it's a Buick. You don't see many Buicks on the road. I don't see many Buicks on the road, but anyway, uh I would have thought, I really came back and searched the airways today, and I would have thought that they had this car already or would have had her already. What I would like y'all to do is copy this tag, like the screen, and put it copy this screen and put it on your Facebook that they're looking for. And you'd be surprised, somebody might be out there that may be driving from here to Arkansas or here out west, and I'm sure they have it up on the interstate, the tag number and everything, because they usually get them pretty easy.
Hey, T.S. Jackson's asking you, so do they think that she ran away with the perv, or do they think the perv killed her?
No, they think she's with him. That's what all that I've read is they think that she voluntarily went away. That he she is pregnant, 3 months pregnant, so obviously they've known about the pregnancy for a while. I mean, 3 months. It's a wonder she wasn't showing, and then they didn't already have him in custody. But if I can get this thing to go back to that, show you, there she is again. I think that she would have they'd already have her in custody or whatever, but I don't know. It's difficult to say. 3 months pregnant, I don't know. I've never been around anybody pregnant for that long of time because we adopted our kids. But 3 months on some people I've seen, they're kind of really showing. But is that pretty much right?
Not necessarily.
You got a bunch of youngins. I don't have a mine. Were all they came to us already born.
Some
So I don't know.
some women can carry a baby a little bit longer than 3 months before they'll really show. Depends on their body type, size.
Yeah. And I don't know, she looks like she might be medium size, not really a real petite, girl. But it's gonna be he's gonna be hard to hide. He's gonna be unless he has to be a hunting cabin or somebody doesn't know anywhere about where he's going. I don't know why he would try to go back home. That to me it doesn't make any sense. Uh, I'm gonna try to get back over to him in a second. Uh, like I said, I'm having difficult today with this. Continuously have difficult with this software. I'm gonna write StreamYard and see if they would sponsor me. I don't know if they will or not, but sometimes if you do that, you had other people sponsor us on the send us all types of free gifts for us to look at and rate on the channel, and for us doing it, good or bad ratings, actually uh, they actually gave it to us in the process, little clotheslines and
Looks like
all
that boy
kinds of
needs
little
to
stuff.
pay.
Who?
I said it looks like that
You
boy
got it?
right there needs to pay.
Did it come up? Does his come up? There it is,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can see the picture.
Yeah. Um he needs something, don't he? He needs jail time, what he needs. But
How old
yeah.
is this guy?
Well, see, yes, that's the only thing I got off of that. So I don't know if I'm sure they know.
I was wondering though, how old is he?
I imagine I don't have that information. He wasn't on any of the paperwork that I pulled up today. But
Oh, okay.
you can look on your computer there, or you got a side computer. I might could do it here on this iPad, but his I don't. I mean, I just wonder. I know they had a restraining order against him, but
Gail,
like
Gail said
we've
he
always
looks
said,
old.
it's just
Gail said he looks old.
he looks about
I think
35 to me.
I think he looks goofy myself, but maybe I'm goofy looking too.
Yeah, well, you are, but I mean, other than that, I think he's about 35. Uh, okay, let me see here. I'm gonna look it up. Get, uh, let me see here. He's 40.
40.
He's 40 years old.
Man.
Believed to be the father. Believed to be the father of the baby. And this came out today. ABC News. Wait a minute. They said they're reporting breaking news right now. So let's see. No, well, that's just an Amber Alert. They did a re-Amber Alert. Um, Wisconsin teen, 40-year-old, impregnated her. Uh, so they've probably been having this thing going for a long time. But I'm wondering what relation, what if there was a relationship thing. Was he a neighbor? Was he a teacher? You know, what was the deal? I don't know. I wish that thing would get straight on there where a little bit. It looked good a few minutes ago. We had it in a different location. Let's see.
It looks like from the video tonight that I might have walked up with Moses and got the 10 Commandments and come back. I'm shining
Well,
tonight.
yeah. Ah, man.
Oh, we lost him. We lost you, Tommy. Can everybody still hear me? Mac, can you hear me? Well, apparently Tommy is having some difficulties if y'all can hear me. All right, that's good, Mac. I was wondering, I could see myself on this side, but I wasn't really sure if I was going through or not. Sorry, I was running late this evening to get on here with the show. Been very busy today and had some family time. I lived in Escambia County, Florida, worked state parole probation services, Davis Highway clerk, typist warrants, affidavits, travel voucher. All righty. That might be Tommy trying to call me. Hello? Well, we're, for whatever reason, we're still in because people are talking to me. Everybody, Tommy said that his computer, he's trying to come back online now, to give him just a second. All right. He's supposed to be trying to come back into the chat. Wisconsin snow. Well, now I'm off. Or I could still be here and just don't know. Can you hear me? All right, I can't hear you.
But this is a bunch of crap.
Okay, I can hear you now if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, he went back out again. My goodness. Testing. Yeah, he probably is, Gail. He probably sounds like Yosemite Sam. Yep, everything is working except Tommy's sound. Well, if he can't hear me, then we could tell jokes about Tommy. Let me see if I can get him and put him through the speaker here. We can't hear you. We can. They hear me, but they don't hear you.
You don't hear me now?
Yes, I do hear you now. What'd you do? Turn yourself unmuted?
I don't know. This thing's messed up. I'm gonna go back
All
out.
right, hang it up.
All right, now you should be okay. It's the craziest software. It's called Restream, and it ain't no good. I'm gonna tell you that now. I thought it was gonna be good for us, and it's just not.
Gail said that you were probably over there cussing. I said, yeah, you probably sounded like Yosemite Sam.
I don't cuss.
That's what I said. You sound like.
I try not to anyway.
Yeah, that's why I said you
my
might be doing Yosemite Sam.
I have my moments when if I lost my temper I might, but I say that's very, 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 very rare. Very rare. Um Anything that y'all
Where is your lovely wife tonight? That's what we all want to know.
she's at she's at a play, a chick flick play.
Oh, okay.
I think it's still Magnolias or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think she is with Susie Jim's wife.
Oh, okay.
Um but they're all well now, I hope. But
That's good.
yeah, but we're gonna be down here to the end of the month.
Well, that's good.
I got to have another doctor's appointment, but that's for another
Maybe
day.
you just need to come over here next Thursday night at the house, and we'll do the show from here. That way, you have good internet.
Yeah, that's true. I don't today. Um, Hold on a minute. My daughter just texted me. Um,
I can let you sit right here in a comfortable couch. See that there?
yep.
You can sit right there. I could get you to hardwire right into the Wi-Fi, so you wouldn't have an excuse to say that anything wasn't connected to hardwire, and then you could
Well, I don't think.
broadcast it, and everybody wouldn't have to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think it's the internet tonight. I think it's my.
It's a short between the seat and the mic. Okay.
It's the software. That's the problem. The software is the problem, and I'm gonna try to do something between now and Thursday about resolving that. Either well, I'm gonna call them and say, hey, your software is mumucaca, as they say in Spanish, and then they can maybe they will let me off because I paid for a whole year of it, so because it's cheaper. But I don't know. If I would love to go back to StreamYard, it's like I was telling them earlier before you came on, I would love to have StreamYard sponsor me. And if they've sponsored me and give me some type of break on using their software again, but I love their software and it does great, but it's just extremely high,
Well,
$400 something dollars a year.
if they start asking you to sponsor Hanes underwear and ask you to model, I'm not going to come on here. I'm just telling you.
Not Hanes, StreamYard there, doofus. Where did you go eat tonight?
Texas Roadhouse.
Did you eat a steak?
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I had to bring some of it home because couldn't eat all of it. Had them, the real nice yeast rolls that are real fluffy,
Yeah,
with,
they're very fattening too.
with some cinnamon butter and
Fattening,
and
fattening,
a nice big old fat baked potato with
fattening, fattening,
corn and butter in it. Oh yeah.
See, you can't be talking to me about that. I'm not eating none of that. Well, I did eat a steak the other day, and I did eat a sweet potato, but only with butter. Sweet potatoes are healthy for you.
Yeah, that's what the deer say too.
The deer. Well, do y'all have any questions for me and Tony about anything, police work, anything that we can answer for you tonight? Yeah, just go ahead and ask it, and we'll see if we can answer it. There's your opportunity to ask us. I've had people, I did that before, and somebody said, "Why y'all love writing tickets so much?" I said, "Well, I never loved writing tickets. I never loved that at all. But it was a necessity for some people.
Necessity.
For some people, it is. Get their attention. Y'all have
Lord.
any law enforcement questions or anything you can ask it? Anything, we'll try to answer it. Man, these people they're not inquisitive. And what is that? Inquiring minds want to know.
What's the craziest thing Tommy ever did on duty? You want to know that?
No, we don't want to know that. I was thinking the other day, some of the craziest stuff I ever did was on bike patrol. That's what the craziest stuff because I had a lot of freedom. But Maggie,
Yeah, that was good and healthy for you too.
yeah, I was kind of I wasn't that hefty back then.
Hefty.
No, but my doctor did tell me today that I've lost 30 pounds, 30 something pounds. So she was very proud of me in that aspect. Yep. And I had the best cholesterol of all her patients. That's another thing she said. I just have to improve in a couple of things, but other than that, I'll be good. Good.
Here's a question. What do you think about the plane crash?
Which one?
Which one? Which one? Are you talking about the one with the helicopter, military helicopter, or are you talking about the one that's got the medical airplane?
If you're talking about the medical helicopter, I think they're going to find out that those guys in the helicopter thought they were looking at the plane, the other plane. They were when he said visual, got it in visual sight. I'm pretty sure he was looking at the wrong plane. You know, I don't think that they were looking at the right plane. And another thing, their instruments may have been bad because they had a 200-foot ceiling, and their instruments showed them at 300 feet. So if they were flying at 300 feet, they were 100 feet above their ceiling, and that's what the Army sets for them. The Army sets a 200-foot ceiling because they know they would be below traffic coming to the airport. The way that is, those airplanes in TS, I think you said didn't you used to be a stewardess or something? But those planes, they get them in line, and they tell them to speed up and slow down to get in line, and they're coming in on a flight path. They know exactly what altitude they are and everything, and then the the helicopters it's not flying at the right altitude.
Well,
Right, you know, when you say visual separation, like your pilot said, he's not looking at the right airplane. Two of them. There's one ahead of the other, and I'm pretty sure he was looking at that plane that had just taken off and just did not see the other helicopter. Helicopter did
there's
not
no way. There is
shoot.
no way I don't agree with that. There's no way that they didn't see those bright landing lights.
Well, the thing is, if thing, if the plane helicopter was slightly behind the helicopter, the landing lights from there would not be visible. The landing lights would be in front. And if they were looking up there at that other plane that just took off, which they're not that, when one takes off, the other one is taxiing out there getting ready. The other plane starts the bank. They usually take them up. The minute they take off, they tell them to turn to the left or the right. And say, I think he was turning back to the right. Then he sees that plane. He says, I have visual separation. And then, boom. It wasn't that long before he crashes. I just don't believe he ever saw it. I don't. I think he was looking at the wrong plane. I really do.
I've, I've seen I've seen the flight pattern prior to them actually striking the plane,
I did too. I looked at it too.
and they had two near misses before that plane, and
Yeah,
they were
I'm just
going right towards planes. It was almost as if, well, I mean, put it this way: their pattern in itself, why they kept going and bouncing back and forth across the river, something wasn't right.
well. The thing is this: it's like TSX says ATC never should have allowed them to be visual with those alarms going off. They should have stopped it then. It's their job. And one thing is, TS, it was one controller was working two jobs, and that was a wrong thing. They shouldn't have ever let that other controller off. Their supervisor let one of them off, and one controller was working two jobs. He was supposed to keep airplanes separate, and he was also working departures, I believe. But the thing is, I'm like you. That controller can see the altitude of the copter. He can see the altitude of the plane, and he asked him twice, "Do you have him in in sight?" And when he says yes, visual separation, I'm like you. He should have never. He should have said negative. You know, uh, decrease your altitude, and that plane's going to have alarms too inside of it. That's going to say uh, collision, collision, collision. You know, something. You know, it's
Yeah.
going to alarm that they're too close. Now, Anthony, what you're saying, Tony, is you think it was on purpose? Is that what I get from you?
I don't know if it's necessarily on purpose or an inexperienced pilot error.
Well, you had two pilots. You had the girl pilot was in training. She had 500 hours, and
Again, that's what I'm getting at. I
and
don't.
you had a senior pilot in there that probably in the thousands of hours. I mean,
Right.
she couldn't have done it. I mean, he's job also. I mean, you got this whole big glass looking out there, seeing this. One thing I blame the controllers for one, not seeing it on radio and separating them. You know, because you've seen them, you've heard them before. They'll be like, uh, you know, turn so and so for traffic at 2 miles, and they're supposed to have 1,000 feet separation, up or down or sideways. 1,000 feet supposed to be separation, and but when you are flying in a small plane, they will tell you we have a plane at 3 miles, 1,000 feet below you. Advise when you have him in sight, and because he may be on visual flight rules. He's not really following radar, but this plane over here, the one that's taken off, he's not doing visual. He's on radar. He's on control by that controller.
Well, I see what Gail put. Just my opinion, but I think it was something sinister.
I don't think so with two pilots in there. I don't think so. If it was one pilot, you know, or if it was a plane like that Malaysia plane where the one pilot they believe locked the other one out of the
Cockpit.
cockpit area, maybe. But I don't. You had a crew chief right behind that pilot that was in there, and then you had the two pilots. But I believe if that plane is already near missed another one, it probably had something wrong with the instruments.
Again, like I said, something to me is not adding up only because I saw the video. I mean, several times I've seen this video and watched it. The way that the
You
angle,
listen to
just
the,
the way that the angle was, is it was coming in this way. It wasn't
but
like
that's
they were
why,
coming in sideways.
right? That's why I don't believe he ever saw the light. I believe he was looking at the wrong plane. One thing is he was 100 feet above. They were 100 feet more than what they were their ceiling was. If somebody gives you a ceiling, that's all you're supposed to go. You're not supposed to, or they'll give you a down and up ceiling. They'll say your ceiling is 200 feet. You're not supposed to go over 200 feet. Your bottom, they may say you can't go below. You can't be more than 25 feet above the water or whatever. I just think that I personally don't think they didn't have the right plane in their view, and
Well,
because
just what you just got finished saying is more than the reason why the 1,000 hour instructor should have realized and known something.
yeah, I agree. I think
So what
instruments
Gail is
are
saying,
there.
what Gail is saying, does prove itself in its own point. It is very questionable. It would be interesting to hear the black box or anything that they might could recover from some kind of activity within the cockpit, but
They
I don't.
will they will have the later on after it's all said and done and they declare whose fault it is, they'll
Yeah,
have those cockpit quarters out. They'll have it. I've read the it might be 2 or 3 years from now, but you can go on websites and look for cockpit recorders for aircraft accidents, and they'll have them if they may not have them in actual audio, but they'll have them in typed out where you can read them, and
yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, a lot of times the guys in the cockpit of these jets, they don't have time enough to be saying much. They'll say like you'll hear them trying to um, stop the crash, flaps down 40, uh, more power, they don't even have time to talk on the radio. And that's why I don't think the actual plane, other than maybe his warning system inside the plane, he's going to have a collision warning because it's like I watched a lot of these YouTube videos on these aircraft, like I watched Steve-O Knievo. That's the name of his channel. He flies. Um, he flies for a living. He used to. I think he flies like a 850 something. I can't think of the name of it now. But and even that, it's a single engine plane, but he flies like 40,000 feet, even with the
yeah.
jets. And when he gets low landing, it'll say minimums when he's landing because it's got a thing in there that's showing, it's telling the pilots right there, hey, you're below what you should be. Even when they're landing, it says minimums, and then he'll come down, and then when it gets around 50 feet, it starts 50, 40,
Right.
30 to end. Once they realize he's landing, but and there's like been I've listened to when they have an aircraft close by, it'll bleep, and on his if he's got radar or whatever, it'll show him where that other aircraft is and give him the up and down the altitude and everything. So I just don't know how. So I did hear somewhere that the pilot might have thought he was going to come in behind him because the way he was flying, it was going to come. When he said on the radio, "I have visual," maybe he thought he was going to come behind him. Instead, he didn't. You're right. He didn't hit him like this. If he was hit like this at an angle,
Yeah.
but
Well, the other plane with the medical, where it was a little boy and he was a critical patient flying
I
back
thought it was a
to,
little girl.
I think it was a little boy, and then it
Didn't
was his
matter.
mother flying with him, and then a doctor nurse scenario. Um, were flying back to Mexico. Now that particular video, to me, it looked like when the plane was going down, that it was actually on fire.
Yeah, but I read somewhere that that was an optical illusion. That it was actually not on fire. It was just the way the film was. But it was. I heard a couple of pilots talking. They have two pilots in those Learjets. What they thought they may have happened was that they had an engine loss on one or the other side, and instead of you're supposed to push the opposite pedal if you have an engine loss at the in your floor, so you'll maintain it balanced. They
Yeah,
think they panicked and pushed the wrong pedal, and that way it immediately put them into a spin and took it straight down. And they said even if they had gotten it under control, they were only at 1,600 feet, so uh, they wouldn't have had enough time to pull up. Even at that, they hit the ground. It was an 8 foot crater in the ground.
right.
That's you know crazy.
Well, I do have some knowledge about those types of medical planes, though the planes do have obviously oxygen and medical equipment. And if the child was on oxygen and they did have some sort of mechanic arcing or something, it could actually ignite an explosion in the cockpit or in the tubular of the plane. Is what I'm trying to
Well,
say.
they found the one oxygen tank. They said that was in there.
Yeah, and it was
It wasn't
properly.
exploded. It was
Well, they
over.
found one that was.
Okay, but they found one of them was a quarter mile away. That
Okay.
it landed a quarter mile away. But even I'm like you, oxygen in a closed compartment like that, and plus they have got oxygen inside the plane itself.
Well,
Yeah,
what
you
I
know,
wondered is if the plane was possibly even overweight as well, because it all depends on what all they had on that plane, and I don't know what they had on the plane, but those planes are. It's just like when we have choppers to come to pick up someone at a wreck or something, or they need to be flown in. It's kind of the same principle. If the patient themselves weigh too much, you know, they might have a problem.
well,
Um,
they said that they thought this plane was set up to be an air ambulance. It's the way that type
yes,
of plane was that had long seats on both sides, so you could put a stretcher down the middle.
right.
But you're right. Who knows? I don't know how much the weight is on those, but something happened quickly.
Yeah, and okay. Max says it was a girl and a mother,
Yeah, I mean
and
something.
then another T.S. Jackson said that they thought it looked overweight to them, and Max said it was an immediate nosedive, and then Max says I think it was multiple causes to go down.
What surprised me was that they even had a voice recorder because I didn't think that private planes were required to. You know, and of course, if he's an air ambulance, he may have had one. May have been required to, but I I know that I've heard people say, "Oh, well, these black boxes." In a small plane, they don't have black boxes.
Yeah,
They may have computers in there that they can go back on, but I don't know. I think it's the reason why they don't is because of the expense of it.
yeah,
But I'm just surprised. I thought I listened to the scanner. You can go on your computer and there's a channel. There's a bunch of scanners out there, but there's one I listen to. It's called 50 Scanner, and you can push the top 100 frequencies of the night, and that's usually when something big is going on. And I pushed that, and it was that crash. Actually, it hadn't been happening more than say 30 minutes when I got to listening to it, and when they got the divers in the water and everything, they were putting the bodies at the police department's helicopter pier. They have a pier out there with a boat there, their aircraft do, and they were putting them in. I thought I could have sworn I heard them say we have 8 survivors en route to the hospital, but that was not the case. I don't know why. I don't know what was all that was said about that, but I remember
Hmm.
eight survivors. But it may have been somebody talking, because I know that they were trying to get people down there to help for recovery. But I would have thought, of course, I don't, with that helicopter hitting them, fire falling straight out of the air, hitting the water and everything. Maybe they all drowned pretty quick, but I don't know. I know that we used to have an officer that
I know
worked.
it's a sad situation because those were.
Well, we
I
used
saw
to.
the pictures of the kids and stuff. They were skaters and things like
Yeah,
that.
I was going to tell
It's
you,
sad. So sad.
we had an officer that worked at the PD down here that left the PD and went into, he got his pilot license, did all that, went into flying, and he used to fly that same flight. He used to be the guy that got killed, the first officer, or the co-pilot. He flew
Yeah.
with him. He flew with him many times, and he flew with that older guy that was the stewardess there, or steward
Yeah.
or steward. He
Yeah.
flew with him too, and so he knew them personally. And now he went from that airlines to flying for, I think he flies for Delta now, but
Right.
uh, flight attendant for years, but I had 5 years engineering university under my belt. Wow. You a smart girl, TS. Uh, if you're overweight, you can nose up, stall, and come down in a hurry. Yeah, I agree. And if you want you agree with me too, if you're only 1,600 feet, I think they said that it a matter of about 4 or 5 seconds is all it's going to take for you to, if you start down in a dive, that you'll be, because I think they said, and I don't know what takeoff speed is for that jet, but the jet flies, it cruises at 542. They said 542 miles an hour. So at takeoff, you got it the hammer down, because you need to get off the ground, get enough wind on your wings. I would imagine, a couple of 100 miles an hour. I know just like a little Cessna 182, you got to get up to about 65 miles an hour to get it off the ground. A twin engine, you might be up around 100 miles an hour to get it off the ground. But a jet with, it needs a good bit to get off the ground. So I can imagine. And no room to correct. But only thing that you can be thankful for, they didn't know what hit them. I mean, it's lights out when they hit the ground. They never, as far as everybody, I've heard people say, oh, they burn up. That's terrible. I guarantee you they were dead before they burn up. We had a crash at the airport down here, and I was maybe fifth at the scene, and it burnt the wife of the pilot up, She was dead at the scene, and he was burned up pretty bad. But he lived as a doctor, I think, flying a plane, and his dog escaped unhurt. But it was like 3 or 4 days before they found him because he ran out after the crash and I guess panicked.
Yeah, you remember the plane though that we had? I was one of the first to get to it. It was crashed and it caught in the trees out in the state park.
Yeah, I remember that. Didn't they lived in that, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was crazy.
yeah. And we had several of the small banner planes that went down and didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah,
But I've never heard pretty much of a jet crashing like that and anybody living. Now did have it hadn't been that long ago. They had a jet that whatever happened, bad fuel, whatever, and he landed on the interstate and he tore the jet all to pieces. But people lived. Most of them lived. Um, yeah, I agree with you, TS. But you don't know. You can imagine at that angle that everything, bed, people, everything's going to be crushing down towards the front of the plane. You're just not going to have any control over anything, And then they had a doctor on board and stuff like that. And I would think going that fast, you know, 5 or 6 seconds, it's over with. Um, you just don't know what. It's going to be interesting to see what caused it. And you imagine how long it's going to take to rebuild that plane. They'll take that to a warehouse and they'll completely rebuild it and put it together, pieces all together, to find out what happened. But I would
man,
bet
part of that
I would
plane
bet
is an accordion. What do you mean?
huh?
I said part of that plane is an accordion.
Yeah, but I've seen them take aircraft that they've had a crash where it looked like you couldn't find anything as big as a quarter, but they'll take every bit of piece they can and they'll lay it out into a just like the plane is in a big warehouse. And they'll take the engines and they'll dissect those engines out. They'll take landing gear, dissect them out. They'll take all the critical parts. They'll find out. They'll find out. I don't know how, but they do. They have a lab, and they'll take the stuff too from the black box where it tells all about the instruments,
Yep.
what the engine. But I would bet this an engine failure. I would just hate to be in a small jet and one engine fail, or a twin engine airplane one engine fail, because you got to be very good at it, at, at doing it. TS, were you ever scared at all when you were stewardess about, flight attendant about crashing or being nervous about it? I'm not. I am a white knuckle flyer in a
Huh.
big plane. Big planes scare me because there's nothing I can do about it. I can't fly it. Small plane, I think I could get it on the ground. It might be in several pieces, but I think I could get it on the ground. Um, I mean, I've flown some true simulators before, but I don't. I know. I sit in a big plane, and I remember Dina swears that I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. We came into Orlando in a plane, flying down there one time, and as you land over in Orlando Airport, it's nothing but swamp out there. It's a big swamp, and I promise you, the wing went. The plane was zoop like that. Of course, my daughter and wife swears it just barely moved, but to me, it went. I thought we were gonna crash. I did. So when you was a kid, Southern Airlines jet landed on a back road near my home, no engines, and it hit a gas station. They had survivors making a story. Is that the one over there? There was a plane. I remember when I was small, they had a plane crash between Atlanta and Huntsville, and it was somewhere around center Alabama. They came down and tried to land on a two-lane road. And I don't know if the engines quit or what it was, but they did have survivors. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I do remember it was. Of course, this we didn't have interstates back then. This was he was landing on it, trying to land on a two-lane road. Had like pine trees on both sides, so it was a mess. But would that be the jet you're talking about, or are you talking about somewhere else? 242. I don't remember what type of jet that was. Now we were down in we were up in Nova Scotia, Canada, and we did a video on our. If you go over to our other channel, our YouTube channel, our 1 Million Mile Road Trip, we did a video about the memorial uh, over there, down there in Nova Scotia, where I think it was the French aircraft um, did an emergency landing. I think they either ran out of fuel or something, but they crashed in the water. They tried to land on the water. They crashed in the water. A bunch of people died. I don't know if all of them died or not. I can't remember, but I put together a video on it, and they had a memorial out there. We went and visited, but New Hope, Georgia. I bet that's the same one. New Hope, Georgia. It was somewhere up there between Georgia and Huntsville. I don't remember exactly where it was. I do remember it though. It was I just don't have the stomach for being on a plane all the time. I've got a buddy, me and actually Tony knows him too. I have a buddy that's a captain for American Airlines. He flies for American, and he's flown in the Air Force. He flew uh, C-130s in the Air National Guard from Afghanistan to Germany to Afghanistan to the U.S. and he was in the National Guard. And then he also flew, like I said, he flies for American now as a captain. And I don't know how many more years he's got till he can retire because they make captains make very good money. I know pilots do, period. But I don't know that I'd want to. I don't know that I'd want to do that. I know having all those people behind you that you're responsible for too.
Just remember, DB Cooper made the planes famous.
Hell, he jumped out of one. That's all. We're not sure he lived either. They're not sure he lived. They found a bunch of his money over time. There's all kinds of stuff on that. But they said on the news the other day that we are going to start hearing about more incidents when aircraft or anytime there's a crash around other crashes, just like yesterday, they had two aircraft hit each other. The aircraft wing hit the other wing in airport. I don't remember now which airport it was, but you put both those airports out of. I mean, the airplane's out of commission for a while, for sure.
I'm anxious to hear about some other things that they're supposed to be able to release and talk about too.
Well, yeah, then I heard that they're going to release true UFO files and Bigfoot. We'll hear about Bigfoot, my old buddy Bigfoot, if it's real.
Isn't that why you went to the Tetons? So
To see
everybody could
Bigfoot?
see you?
See Bigfoot? No, I saw some stuff up there. It wasn't Bigfoot. Oh man. I don't know if y'all know it, but we went, I know we put it on there. We did a thing on it. We found where Gabby Petito was, and they had a memorial. And then about 4 or 5 days later, after we put out that video, somebody took the memorial, which I thought that was pretty sad. Hope they took it to their parents. That's the only thing I hope they took it to. Well, listen, it is 9:17, and I know I've been over here. I've been jabbering my jaws for an hour. I apologize again for this software we got. I'm going to get it straightened out. I am definitely going to get it straightened out, and we'll make it work. And I don't. Next week, I'm going to try to go over at Tony's house, and maybe we can do it from there. And also, but towards the end, I've got some conflicts coming up next month. I've got a procedure on my back on the 5th of next month. And then after that,
A colonoscopy.
no, it's my back. And after that, we're going to start. And about 5 or 6 days after that, if everything works out, I got some other issues that I got to address too. But if everything works out, we're going to go out west and going to try to go to the diamond mine. We're going to Oklahoma, going to some stuff in New Mexico, Arizona, and then all the way over to California. Going to Joshua Tree and take some night. It's supposed to be one of the dark spots in the United States at night photography. We're going to California, then we're coming back through Death Valley, and a bunch of stuff. If everything works out, if the good Lord lets everything work out right. Now, don't ask any questions, please, but I'd like an unspoken prayer. There's an unspoken prayer for me that I wish that you would just pray for. And that's all I'm going to say right now. So anyway, 13 days before what does it say? 13 days I was born in 13 days. You got a birthday in 13 days, Mac?
April the 4th, 1977 is what he's apparently talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a birthday coming up in February. That's the last one I'm celebrating. After that, I ain't going to celebrate no more because I'll officially be old. That's all I'm saying. Okay. We will see y'all next Thursday, hopefully with some better equipment. And hopefully that it will be a lot better way to do this stream by then. Y'all take care, and we will see you later.
Good night.
Good night.